Hi there, I'm Jean Fiorini. I'm a professional tarot reader. I live and work in Portland, Maine on the East Coast of the US. And I'm here to talk to you about the 5 things that you need in order to learn the tarot. Now there are very many workbooks, videos, websites, classrooms, both live and online, that can tell you how to read the cards. But this segment, this video, is going to be about the things that the books don't tell you. The 5 things that you need to have given some thought to before you even crack your deck and begin to understand what the symbols might be about. The first thing that you need is belief that we all hold inner wisdom. Now, this isn't a religious idea. All religions are welcome to the tarot, and I think in some ways that's part of the reason why there are so many tarot decks right now available to people. You can take pretty much any worldview and take the symbols of the tarot and apply and have those two things mesh and integrate with one another. So belief in inner wisdom, the idea that we all carry some sort of knowing, unconscious knowing, subliminal knowing, some sort of awareness that the tarot can help us tap into. Belief in that we all, not just the reader, but that every single person holds inner wisdom inside of themselves is a requirement for anybody who's going to learn the tarot. The second thing that you need to have in your back pocket is a willingness to be open to your intuition. Now, you might notice that I didn't say you need to have intuition, because we all have intuition. And I am sure that some of you just said, well, I don't have intuition, or I'm not in touch with my intuition. That's 2 different statements. Everybody has intuition. It may be an unused muscle in your life. It may be something that's underutilized in your awareness, but to say that you don't have intuition really isn't a true statement. So a willingness to be open to the voice of intuition is guideline number 2 for learning the tarot. The third thing you need is a tarot deck. That might seem a little bit like a no-brainer, but if you've done any research or any looking around in bookstores or online, you will see that there are a bazillion tarot decks available out there right now. How do you pick the one that's right for you? If you were going to learn how to play tennis, you would need to find a racket that fit your hand, that the head was the right size, it was the right weight, it felt good, and it was easy to maneuver. Those sorts of things are exactly what you need to find in a tarot deck. Something that feels good in your hand, something that you can relate to, something whose images relate to your sensibilities. Now, if you live in a place where you can get to a metaphysical store, where you can put your hands on a deck, that's really the ideal. You want to be able to look at more than just what card is on the cover of the box. You know, that gives you a hint about what's inside, but it's really a very good thing. If you're going to invest any time and or any money in learning tarot, you need to have a tool that you can work with. So if you don't have access to either a good bookstore or a metaphysical store that has, I don't want to say good bookstore, but if you have accessibility to a store or of any kind that has a good selection of tarot, where you can see open them up. Sometimes they have books in stores with sample cards from each of the decks. If you can't get your hands on something like that, my suggestion is going to be to go to eclectictarot.net, which the website address there is eclectic, AECLECTIC.net. It's a great resource. You can pretty much buy any tarot deck in the world through eclectic.net, and they have a variety of cards from very many decks illustrated there on that site. So if you can't get your hands on a deck to see how it feels, that's your second best resource. So finding a deck is the third thing that you need, a tarot deck that you can relate to the images, you like the feel of it, and you have a sense that it might be able to be something that you can work with. Rule number 4, or tool number 4 that you need to have in your toolbox before you begin to learn the tarot is an openness to the process of self-reflection. Working with the tarot is going to imply a little, I call it the ongoing science experiment that is tarot, because it's this going back and forth between what impressions you get from the card, testing it out and seeing how that applies to real life, outer life, concrete life, external life, and then going back to the cards and then developing what I like to call a working relationship with your tarot deck. Coming to learn when certain cards come up in your particular deck, in your particular way of working with cards. Oh, I recognize now that when this card comes up, it means this for me. Or I can kind of keep an eye out for X, Y, and Z if I see this particular card. So that inner dialogue, that checking yourself against your impressions, that willingness to look at things that maybe you don't want to look at, whether those things maybe are things that feel negative or whether those are issues of power, and oh, I do have a little bit more mastery in my life than perhaps I thought I did. So this openness to the process of self-reflection, so important. The short version of this tool number 4 or aspect number 4 is that if you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk. If you're going to work with people with cards, even if it's your friends over the coffee table, you gotta be responsible for your own stuff there. The 5th thing that you need, and the final thing that you need before you crack open your tarot deck, is patience. Many of us are not very good at patience. If we get excited and enthusiastic about learning something new, we want to have it kind of wrapped up in a week. We want to know the basics in a week. And in a sense, you can get the basics in a week. I like to quote the little tagline from the game board of Othello, the board game Othello. And that is that it takes a minute to learn and a lifetime to master the tarot. You can learn tarot, the basics, probably in an afternoon with a good book or a good teacher. But to really have that working relationship takes belief in the inner wisdom, willingness to be open to your intuition, a deck that feels like it's suitable for you, your belief systems, your worldview, and your sensibilities, openness to the process of self-reflection, and patience. So with those things in your back pocket, you're good to go. If you decide that you wanted to learn more about tarot, there are so many resources out there. I have a really beautiful free selection of video tips on YouTube. And also, if you wanted to go even deeper than that, there are video classes available online on my site. My website is tarotworks.com, very simple, tarotworks.com. So thank you for tuning in to this little lesson about what you need before you get going on the tarot. If you have these 5 things intact, ready to go, I guarantee you your tarot readings will be richer, more beneficial for you and for people who you might be working with. So good luck and happy taroting.